Hi everyone, Kelt here. As I've had to delay this video, I'm just going to summarise my thoughts on the funeral, as it was several days ago now and I think it's been practically covered by everyone, though I know that some of you wanted my thoughts on it, so here we are. I thought the whole thing was quite dignified and moving, with quite poignant moments, such as the Queen sitting on her own looking very solitary and sad. It made me think of 3 years previously, when she was sitting in exactly the same seat next to Prince Philip at Harry's wedding. The music was exquisite, and even the spacing of the family due to COVID restrictions sort of emphasised the gap that must have been left in each of their lives after losing their husband, father, grandfather. I thought it was quite visually evocative, and although the mood was sombre, there was such a sense of a big chapter in history coming to a close. The beautiful architecture of the chapel and the carved dark oak stalls, originally for knights, could be appreciated much more with so few people there, and the lone kilted piper was the perfect finale. The support of Catherine for particularly Prince Charles was so touching, and she looked impeccable, and the way she stood back to let Harry and Prince William talk was extremely thoughtful. Though I felt that if there were no cameras there at all, would Harry have made the effort to talk to William? Was it Harry's way of getting some press shots of them looking as if everything's okay? I think I will give Harry the benefit of the doubt, and I think he possibly was very keen to put things right. From what I hear, Harry was very eager to sort things out to the point where he wrote letters before he left the US as a preemptive, and whereas Prince William was at a loss as to what to do regarding Harry, and was obviously showing some level of self-protection and stress in his body language, where he looked at one point as if he was almost scarfing Harry again. But Catherine was her usual incredible self and managed to get the brothers talking again, and she slipped behind them to let them get on with it. I do think that William was tense, you could see it in his face, and apparently, according to a professional lip reader, what he and Harry were saying was basically small talk about the funeral. The funeral was the wrong place and the wrong time to sort out something so deeply personal and emotive as Harry and his wife's public betrayal of the family. It appeared that several members of the family ignored and didn't even acknowledge Harry. I think Sophie and Anne didn't even appear to speak to Harry or even look at him. It's Sophie and Catherine who are going to be the strong pillars of that family. And as they say, behind every successful man is a strong woman, I think maybe we'll see Edward taking on more duties. So it seems that Prince Charles has gone off to Wales to be by himself to grieve, and maybe even to process his conversation with Harry, as they had, I think it was 2 hours after the funeral, whereby they talked. While Harry might have felt encouraged by it, it seems that they have a long way to go. Prince Charles is the sort of person who needs to go off alone into the wilderness type thing, and he often paints. And I don't think it's a bad thing because the Queen has a lot of close family who will make sure that she won't be lonely. I also understand that the Queen has at last eased up on being so soft on Harry and his wife, and has sided, for want of a better word, with Prince William and Prince Charles, leaving them to sort it out, which they will, because it's the one thing that Prince Philip would have wanted them to do. Harry was 1 minute going to stay a few days for the Queen's birthday and not going straight back, and then I think the latest is that he's going to head back to his wife. Which reminds me, has anyone noticed how much the emphasis was on Harry missing his wife and having to go back? Zero mention of his son. The Times newspaper refers to Prince Harry's talks with his father and brother. They met with Prince Charles at Windsor Castle for 2 hours, and this was the first time they've got together since the Oprah interview last month. It says that the damage caused by the interview that Harry and his wife made is so deep that many believe that a serious conversation is needed to discuss the allegations. It mentions that, although Harry is keen to return to California, there have been reports that he might stay until the Queen's 95th birthday on Wednesday. The last I heard was that he's still here, but anything could have changed. He might well be on his way back. I think the whole thing went perfectly, though there were some pointing out of Harry's lack of grooming regarding his hair at the back and his issues with his shoes, where one appeared to lift off at the sole and lack of polishing his shoes. I didn't notice that at the time. All it does is make me feel slightly sorry for him, because he either doesn't get to have anything new because all the money is being spent on his wife and her designer outfits, or it's because he's not aware or doesn't care, both of which could be connected to depression. The one blight on the event was probably the rustic wreath that Harry's wife made sure to make public down to every detail of every flower in it. Who does that? None of the other family made any statement or advertised any of their wreaths. The worst of it was when some media in the US were running with the story that Harry's wife had actually had the wreath and handwritten note put on top of Prince Philip's coffin. That would never happen. So I would guess that maybe she had those instructions in the delivery of the wreath. However, it was good to see that the handwritten note was carefully tucked to the back so that the cameras didn't get it. Brilliant work by whoever did it. Of course, the flowers were carefully chosen, a nautical theme, and also, I believe, the state flower of California, etc. All these little touches to place her in the media yet again. She wasn't there in person, but she managed to inflict her colour scheme on the event, just like she did at the christening of Prince Louis, where they had all been sent instructions on the colour scheme to wear, which was obviously blues and pale cream, and Harry's wife chose to wear khaki. So the wreath did stick out a bit like a sore thumb regarding the colour scheme, as most of them were the traditional white or cream. So yes, she managed to get seen, if you like, but I think that the way it was tucked to one side and not put on the coffin might have annoyed her quite a bit, because I can just imagine the instructions she sent to the florists, insisting that it be put on the coffin because she can't be there. She probably had the idea that that could actually happen, and in her lack of awareness would be oblivious to the fact that Prince Philip's beloved wife of over 75 years would be the one to have her flowers and card on the coffin, though I have since heard that it was Prince Philip's cousin Daisy, I believe, who provided the wreath. One thing for sure, the note which was read was the one from Lilibet, Prince Philip's beloved wife, the Queen. Maybe Harry's wife wanted to recreate the effect of Harry's little handwritten note for his mum Diana. Anyway, regardless of her intentions, that day the funeral went really well, and many people were in disbelief that she was still managing to get into the news on this special day. Something Harry has done was to update his IMDb page to include his appearance at the funeral as if it was an acting performance, just as his wife did regarding their wedding, as if it was a job. How sad. So let me have your thoughts, and in the meantime I'll leave you with one thing that made me smile. The highlight of the whole thing for me was the fact that Prince Philip had previously arranged for a fake pillar in the chapel, concealing a photographer. I believe the photographer was their old friend Arthur. What a clever idea to get the close-up facial expressions of the family. So I'd love to have your thoughts on all of this. If you saw the funeral, what you thought of it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Please subscribe, ding my bell for more alerts for more videos, like if you liked it, and share. Bye.